Shadow Force, stop me if you've heard this one before. Once upon a time, two hot, skilled assassins worked for a shadowy black ops organization. Being hot and good at their jobs, they fell in love and wanted to start a family. But the government wouldn't cut them loose. So they went on the run to live their lives and raise a family, only to be dragged back into the world of gunplay and spycraft when their old bosses and colleagues came looking for them. Of course you've heard this chestnut before. It's the premise of a bajillion films and TV shows at this point about a couple that has to balance action hero daring do with the mundanities of family life. Shadow Force, the latest entry in this much vaunted subgenre, whose latest entry, Back in Action, came out only a few months ago, is just as anonymous and intangible as its name implies. It's a shame, too, because there's an ostensible pedigree to work from. This is the latest from writer-director Joe Carnahan, who came up quickly in the early 2000s as one of the big new names in action thrillers, with films like Narc and Smokin' Aces, only to stumble a bit with his 18 remake and glide into network TV comforts as a director and EP on the blacklist. He's made some solid yarn since. The Grey is one of Neeson's best, most contemplative thrillers, and even 2021's Cop Shop is a devilishly grimy entry for him. Here, though, he feels in peak journeyman mode, lending only the tiniest dash of grit to what feels like the pilot to its own sloppy NBC procedural. The film begins oh so profoundly with a quote from Paul Pearsall: "Our most basic instinct is not for survival but for family." Sounds like the kind of thing Dominic Toretto would have tattooed across his lower back. From there, we're introduced to Isaac Omar Sy, who seems a good dad to his precocious 5-year-old son Kai, Yalil Kamara. They take baths, he teaches him French, he tells him not to swear. They bond over Lionel Richie's syrupy ballad Truly, which Isaac listens to repeatedly in his hearing aids. But one day, when bank robbers hit up the branch he and Kai happen to be in, he takes off his hearing aids, tells Kai to close his eyes, and dispatches the robbers with ruthless efficiency. Not that we needed to guess, but it's clear Isaac had a much different life before his seemingly single dadhood. It's then that Carnahan and co-writer Leon Chills throw a metric ton of side characters and clunky plot threads at us. Turns out Isaac and his wife, Kerry Washington, were central members of an elite squad called Shadow Force, led by the unscrupulous Jack Cinder, Mark Strong, who can play these kinds of sneering villain roles in his sleep by now. When they split from the group, Kara made the painful decision to splinter off to hunt down their former teammates before they could kill their family. Now, Cinder is Secretary General of the G7 or something, and sees this recent reappearance of Isaac as a chance to tie. Man also show up to occasionally divert our attention as Auntie and UNC, two fellow spies vaguely connected to our heroes, and whom they seem to trust. They have such good comic rapport, and clearly ad-libbied their better jokes amid the dross of the script, that I kinda wish I was watching their movie instead. Sure, the script sucks and the characters are bad, but I'd almost forgive that if the action was any good. Sadly, Carnahan seems to have lost his touch, with a few glimmers of intense fight choreography obscured by dim lighting or scattershot editing. One sequence, in which the family fights off baddies on motorcycles and tricked-out semis in their souped-up supercar, is a refreshing flurry of fog and flares. But that's over and done far too soon, and it's back to additional bickering from Sy and Washington, and more impotent glowering from Strong. The sitcom-y scenes of family arguments and droll wisecracks clash with the grimmer aesthetic Carnahan wants to give it, so Shadow Force feels like an action film serving two masters and fulfilling neither's needs. It's laughable, alright, but in all the wrong ways. Don't forget to subscribe and turn the notification on to more reviews. Thanks for watching.